you know, what do you think's in the trailers?
Monkeys. That's how they did coronavirus. I mean, the other virus.
In 2009?
When you watch this shit, you're gonna fucking freak.
You're gonna die. The way you go.
I'm telling you, you're gonna freak.
Okay, let me see.
All right, so this right here is another testimony on UFOs. This is another testimony on UFOs that I wanted you to watch, because it's gonna go into some things that I know you're especially gonna think is interesting. And when it gets to the point, I want to see your face. Okay. It's a little long, but check this out.
As a Marine, the tactical advantage that you get from having a observation from a top point is you see everything clearly. You could also coordinate from there. At that time, we had did a tactical column, which we were able to get eyes on pretty much everything, especially with 6 Marines. So we have the effective communication at that point. If we need to engage, we can properly do it within the amount of ammunition we've got, as well as the weapons that we got, which were only M16A4s. So at that point, we decided to push forward. We trekked up about 300 meters. At this time, I have a Panasonic camera that has the ability to take photographs. It has ability to take videos, obviously. When we got to this high point, I was taking video camera, and I had actually turned to the north, which just kind of slopes down. And right there was something that stuck out like a sore thumb, especially with jungle terrain, things like that. Vegetation, very green stuff, was something that stuck out so well. It's always going to be basically imprisoned in my mind for the rest of my life, and it has been for 14 years, was something that was rotating, and it was transitioning between colors like a light matte gray, as well as a dark matte black. So in between, that's what it kept, and it was very smooth. We had all looked at each other as we got online, and we decided to investigate. The further thing I want to say is that I actually took pictures and video of this before we actually trucked down. We had a dump pouch where we basically, if we expend ammunition, we want to retain our magazines, so we put those there. So I dropped my camera in there, and we decided to go down. We didn't have any communications, which was weird, and that was a very odd thing, and it's something that either could have been good that we didn't, or it could have been something that could have been very bad. And it just however you want to look at that. Once we got down this slope, we were approximately 150 meters away from this craft. When we all got to the point where we could see it, just like behind here, again, Mr. Schratt, phenomenal job. You can see that the craft here actually was roughly about 300 feet. And the reason why I know this is because you could fit 3 of the helicopters that we flew in on underneath this craft. It was rotating a clockwise motion. The panels here that you see, the black ones, at least 3 of them, was like a Vanta black, very dark. I have no idea what that was. On the very top, there was like a pyramid structure that you could see the shadowing of it, which would elicit that was a pyramid structure. And it had an audible hum to it, kind of like a guitar amp if you were to unplug that, or like a transformer. It's very audible. If I was to hear that sound again, I could tell you, okay, it's probably this thing or something similar to that. It's very distinct. And the way that it was floating, which was about 10 or 15, 20 feet off the ground, it was kind of a very eerie thing to see, because I've never seen anything like that in my life. When we got up to that point, we were then intercepted by a team of soldiers, or rogue military force, if you will. The most concerning thing about this is they all had American dialects. They had American gear. They had OTVs, black. They had black camouflage. They had very similar setups to what we had, but more high speed, something what you would see special operation groups these days have. They had no insignias on. They had no ranks. They had nothing that would signify who they were. They had black ball caps. They had M4A4s that were equipped with ACOGs, which was a step up from what we were currently issued, as well as PEC 16 IR illumination devices that you use for night vision and night patrols, things like that. So we were engaged. We had 8 of them put the drop on us. You could audibly hear them blow the safety selectors off. They basically started screaming at us, telling us what we were doing. We were not allowed to be there. Who were we with? What were we doing there? Threatened that they could kill us right then and there. We could get lost in the jungle. They could throw us out of a helicopter if they needed to. It was very nerve-wracking at that point, especially looking to my fellow Marines and seeing the reactions on their faces too. We were all freaking scared, to say none the less. So with that being said, each Marine was then patted down along with myself. We had our weapons taken from us. They were basically cleared in condition 4, which means they had no round chamber, no magazine in. They dumped our magazines out of our mag pouches as well into the deck. And then again, because of Marine Corps order, how things are with that, we were told to keep our military ID in our left breast pocket. So they knew that. They asked for our military identification. We gave it to them, obviously, because they have guns in our face. So provided that to them. They had something that looked like modern day smartphones, but this is 2009, so it's not really as high tech compared to obviously today. So they took some pictures of our military ID, and then they had something remind me of a BAT system, which is a biometrics tracking system that we would use. This is for insurgents or anything like that. It would take fingerprints, it would take retina scans, it would take pictures of them and document them. So if there's other militaries that were coming to relieve our post, they would actually have this information too to know who they are dealing with. That's what it reminded me of, and I had trouble scanning the IDs. As this is going on, we're going back between these guys as well as what's going on in the background. At that time, there was 4 of these trucks, which were F-350s. They were up armored. They were pretty beefy. They had weapon cases that I've seen before because of something that we've actually loaded weapons into. They had 2 of them that were in the back of each truck. They also had these containers that was illustrated right here, which come to find out through recent revelations from yesterday from somebody who came forward to Dr. Greer. I don't know who they are, but what they had told him and what he has told me is that this gentleman knows exactly what these were used for, because they had like a cylinder on the front, which is either for oxygen or what I hypothesized was for vacuum sealing, which lead me to suspect that they were smuggling narcotics or drugs. Come to find out, it's more disturbing than that. This gentleman has firsthand.
Yo, what do you think's in the trailers?
Monkeys? That's how they did coronavirus? I mean, the other virus?
2009?
Account with this and says that it was for people. It's very disheartening, especially because that part of the world have already gotten ravaged, and it's something that is very hard to see right now because of what I've witnessed, and it's very disheartening. And this is why I'm up here. So they loaded these onto this platform that you can see right there, and as I got up there, like I said, I was going back and forth. These guys are still searching our stuff. They're still, pointing their weapons at us. And after the last 2 trucks that I saw that actually got into that platform unloaded, they had 4 guys in each truck that would unload everything. However they did it, I can't tell you because, again, I was focused on this as well. And so they loaded these onto this.
Look how red he is.
That's why they was in Indonesia. They're black people. They need black people for their scientific, the science of it. That's why they don't need white people. They need the melanin. That's what. No, I'm serious. They need the melanin. That's what they wanted. That's what they wanted to test. We have the melanin is a genetic thing. They need that for something.
Let's not assume what the aliens want. Let's talk about what this man is really saying. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter black, white, brown. At the end of the day, what he's saying is American government possibly or giving over human trafficking people and giving them to aliens.
They've been doing that.
Sacrificing people.
Yeah, they've been doing that.
Sacrificing people.
Oh,
government is sacrificing people.
I didn't tell you on Wayfair, on the Wayfair, the furniture site. You know what I'm about to say.
Yes, I know.
They were going to get sued and taken down because they were sex trafficking children
and
putting
using
them as furniture.
I heard that story.
So this is the world we live in, right? We know all the rich people doing it. We know that, right? Right? Whole island. So who's to say the government wasn't doing it too on some level? And now we're hearing this guy say this. What are your thoughts?
Black Panther, no stuff is real. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
There we go.
That's
so like,
yeah.
There's a lot of things to talk about in that video, and I just like off the cuff things that we've always been like saying, but it sounds crazy. The U.S. is sacrificing people to aliens. That sounds nuts. I don't even like saying it. That sounds like what? But that guy got pinker and pinker as he spoke, and he spoke faster and faster. When you're lying, you don't do that, right? He looked anxious. He looked afraid to say this. And I did more research. There were other people that were with him don't even want to talk because the government put their fucking shoe in their neck. You think they didn't have to sign NDAs and all that? Remember, all this is coming out right now because that law or whatever was dropped a while back. And I told as soon as that law was dropped, people are going to start coming out one after the next, one after the next, one after the next. I need to stop. Bebop. I need to stop.
So if this is the thing that it goes back to, if they had, he said they had higher technology in 2009 than them. Where do you think that all of these phones and stuff, they pre-make these before they put them out? And now that whoever made the iPhone is dead, they're still coming out with that technology. So
Dude.
he was just the face.
We already know that the military always has the technology we had 20 years before we have it, right? We don't get the technology until they have the superior technology. That's just how it works. That's how it's always been. Cell phones, they've had cell phones for like 15 years, if I remember correctly, before we even got a phone like that. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. And you got to ask yourself, well, why do we go about things that way? Why don't we share things freely? They're always saying, like, we don't want to share things freely because we don't want the other countries to have them too right away, because then they'll use that against us. That's bullshit.
That is bullshit.
That's just
China
bullshit.
has more technology than us.
That's bullshit. It's all about hoarding. It's all about being on top, and it's all about keep for me. Y'all don't want to share information because the information is valuable. Let's keep it a stat. And y'all don't want to share the information because who has the information right now? You and people like you. So it's kind of like, I understand. Look, real talk. If it was me and my sisters had some shit that we can just make it and rock and not share, would we share? How long will it take for us to share? Right? As a human being, I understand the thought pattern, but when it's something so grand as are we alone in the universe to help, like, make us rethink religion, make us rethink, and this is what they don't want.
Yeah.
Right? Make us rethink how our government is set up. Yeah. Who's in power. They don't want us to think about all this. Yeah. They don't want all this stuff to come out. Because if all this stuff came out, they would be in real big trouble. Yeah. They'd be in real big trouble. And the more information that's coming out,
it won't be that they'll be in big trouble, though. They'll just get overthrown. That's the real thing. They'll just get overthrown because everyone will skip the government and actually know who's the real person in power and get that person.
I agree that they might get overthrown, but what they act, it's like there's going to be riots in the street if they say we have aliens. Well, the riot would be, okay, can we get a picture? Can we get a video? You're going to share that with us, right? You're not going to share it with the masses. You're just going to tell us we have aliens and not give us any information. That's why people would riot in the street, would start showing up to places like Roswell and all that stuff and start rioting, like open up the base or whatever.
And then there'll be those group of people, but then there'll be the other group of people out of fear. They'll start rioting like, well, how are you going to protect us? The government doesn't protect us. There'll be those type of stuff, and that's what they would initially. That's why they're shielding.
You see, this is my thing, right? They want to go about it and act like they're protecting us. All they have to do is share what they have and still protect us.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
They do their job. Like, just do your job.
They know what they have, and it's gonna scare people. It's gonna scare people because of what they already put in place, which is the religion, and that this stuff is demonic and evil. That's what they don't want. They already had a system in place that's gonna fuck them if they come out with something else. That's where they went wrong. That's why. Because we already see portals opening up and all of that stuff. Where do you think that's coming from? Things flying through it, like in freaking DC when Superman was fighting all those stuff that Darkseid opened up. We seen those shits.
And they always say, like I said before, art imitates life and life imitates art. But look, I'm not saying we're not that smart. It's not like we're smart, right? We're smart, but I get if a lot of our technologies didn't come from us. There were times that the jumps in technology really didn't make any sense. Well, how do you feel about all this?
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
I was going to say, I'm going to quote MIB, a person is smart, but people are dumb. You have to really be careful with the information you give out, especially in this sort of sense, because honestly, if you give it to too many people at once, it might cause a panic, which is probably what they don't want, but I'm interested. It's narcissistic to think that, space being so vast that we're the only beings in the universe, especially as smart as we are. I know we haven't figured out, space travel or anything. I'm waiting. I am. But it's just...
They have. They've space traveling and time jumping. That's why we have so many Mandela effects, sex in the city, sex and the city. They've already had this.
But you know, maybe that's what it really is, right? Maybe they really have some crazy, groundbreaking technology, but they don't want to share it because they don't want it to be like Fringe, that TV show. And in Fringe, if you don't know that TV show, for people, it's about a scientist who has to find these people who are using his old technology to basically take over the world, and it's technology that enables them to manipulate different realities. Long story short, the problem was that too many people got their hands on this technology. It's just like how China, as soon as we start a new phone, they're going to copy that shit.
Copy
right?
that. They already, that's right? The thing, they already have the better technology than us. They already had the phone.
They might, right? But if we ever did anything intuitive that they don't do, they'll copy it, right? And that's how they are, whatever, cool, fine. But what they don't want is, and this is the thing, just do the same thing over here. Like, I don't understand. If we just use the whole world instead of trying to use ourselves, right? Like, the best stuff gotta come out of the U.S. Yeah. That's so fucking stupid.
But this is the thing. What if they already know the outcome? Let's just say that the world is gonna end, and they have these technologies. They keep time jumping, changing different things that happen in time because they do not want the world to end, like the whole world to blow up. So they go back and they change a piece, and it just gives us extra time to figure out how to make the world stop ending.
Conspiracies.
Yeah. Because there's no way they went back in time and changed when Nelson Mandela died. In the history books it says he died in jail. Now all of a sudden he ran Africa and stuff. Why change those specific things? It's either they got, like we were saying in the last episode, we eventually overthrew them, and we won that battle.
That's really, look.
Or the world blew up, and they had to change that scenario, make him.
You know what? Off the topic of aliens, if aliens are real, what would that make you question else? Now let me repeat that. If aliens are real, what else would you question in life? So, for example, the Mandela effect, I would rethink that. Just like you said, you know what I mean? I'd be like, well, you know what? We ain't alone in the universe. Time travel might be real. The Mandela effect might be a thing. I might not be crazy. Because I remember myself thinking, like, this still make no sense between certain things. Like, some cereal boxes and some weird shit and some other things. Like, so for me, I get it. What would you think? Like,
I go back to ancient history, honestly. So, like, I would go back to, like, things like going through ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs and like thinking more about like, oh, these gods could have been, I don't know, maybe an alien from space, and that's how they thought they looked like.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool concept. Or even going back even further, I think it was like Mayan is further back, like going back to that. So they had like that sundial or something like that. Where was it? It was the ancient Mayan calendar that like ended at a certain year. Mm-hmm. Maybe that actually meant something. Like I would go back through farther and farther in history to see what the effect might be. For me,
it's good that you brought up the Mayan calendar, because there's a theory out there that we switched our calendar and we're missing months. We're missing months. The days aren't really real like how they perceive it to be. That's why they're saying time is an illusion. If we go by the Mayan calendar, we should have extra months in the year. It shouldn't end at 12. And if we go by that regularly, all the zodiac signs changes. All the hieroglyphics and stars and all that stuff changes. Your birth chart changes, and all of those different type of stuff changes. And that can lead into something else. They don't want you to really know yourself.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that, where the months don't line up. Like October's technically like Octa's 8, so like it's not even the 8th month. Okay, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And if all of that stuff changes, then who really are you? If you actually really look at it that way, where do you really come from?
Ooh.
Look, I would question the whole Bible or all of religion. Like you just said, you're looking back, there's a lot of things in religion, story-wise, that some things evident that there's some symbolism there. For the other things, it's like, he directly said that, for example, what angels are supposed to look like. That's another one. What angels are supposed to look like. That look like alien to me, bro.
Yeah. Are they really angels? Are they just put a name to it for some type of fear-based thing to control you?
And this is what I'm thinking too. Like, so let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit. Y'all come with us, all right? Let's go down the rabbit hole. So these aliens are coming. Not only do they, if this is true, if what he's saying is true, these aliens know to keep, like, who to deal with, right, and who not to deal with, and to stay under wraps, because we don't, like, it's not a known thing, right? So that's one. So that tells us that they're working with our governments, right? He's already confirmed that in a way that they're working with our governments, and that they're giving them people. It's just saying that out loud.
Why would they give them people though?
Let's talk about it. So now, all those people who were saying, I got probed by an alien, and it sounds stupid
in their dreams, and then they woke up back in their bed. Now
the whole wonder is maybe it could be true. Maybe it could be true.
Then they're just taking you. They're not putting you back in.
Or maybe all that is just a dream, because the fact of the matter is they don't need to do all that shit because the government is giving them everything they fucking need. And people are just they see UFOs in the sky. They might see things happen, but how the human brain works, you go to sleep and your brain tries to work out the thing you saw. So maybe people are actually seeing things and then dreaming of an experience, right? Because I honestly think if an alien takes you, you're not coming back, bro. Why? Like,
I mean, back in the day, they would put them back to have the illusion that they weren't real. And 2009, they were, sightings, and they were getting a little bit under wraps on how to take them.
Let's correct this. So maybe there are aliens that picking up people and putting them back. But this was during a crisis where people were supposed to already be dying.
Okay.
Right? And that's key, because when you think of it that way, that's telling me that the government's using crises, natural disasters and all that shit to ship off people.
Are they, but then it goes back to, are these really natural disasters, or are they caused and it's a cover-up?
You think the aliens are causing these disasters just to take people?
No, the government, humans are causing these disasters to give the humans to the aliens, and that's the cover-up.
Nah. Because then think of it this way: are natural disasters a real thing? I think they are, and if they are, then
you mean to tell me that the forest has been here all this time, and now that humans are here, the forest just magically starts getting lit on fire?
What? No, but
wait.
No.
Wait, what are we talking about?
No, she's natural disasters.
Natural disasters.
No. You don't have. No one has to be in the forest for the forest to light on fire. That is a natural phenomenon. What happens is, and I'll explain it. What happens is, you know how you have a magnifying glass and you have the sun. You make the sunlight more intense. That happens naturally in our atmosphere sometimes. And when it's too sunny, and too hot, our atmosphere will work not necessarily as a magnifying glass, but it will magnify the rays.
But what if it is a magnifying glass?
See,
with us being in a
now we're going.
No, but
I can't say you can't say shit. Conspiracies. You can't say shit to this girl, right?
Because that don't make no sense. That's what I'm saying. Before we were here, there were no natural disasters.
I'll explain why that makes sense.
Forest fires wasn't really a thing.
I'll explain why that makes sense. I know what you do. You play devil's advocate here.
Yeah, I am.
I'll explain why that makes sense, right? When you have layers, even if they're invisible, if the layer is made out of some type of material, like say concentrated air, then what it does is it distorts rays. It distorts the sun rays, it distorts light rays, and depending on the type of rays it is, it'll shift. You ever saw how it hit? Like when it hits the water, when you're under the water, you see it comes to the water and it hits an angle.
Yeah.
Just like the water level has surface tension, our atmosphere has surface tension, and that's why we don't just float off into outer space.
Okay.
The science is real. Yeah. So what that means is we have multiple layers, and because of the multiple layers and how light it can create that. Okay. These are natural disasters. A tornado, like look, We can always say, yo, all these are man-made. I don't think tsunamis are man-made. Earthquakes, I don't think earthquakes are man-made. Look, and these things are old as fucking dirt. These things have been happening for a long time, long time. I think, though, that the U.S. government would use these to cover up their dirt.
Yeah.
For sure. They would pop up during a natural disaster and be like, yo, more people died.
It's like in The Flash, or it's like in The Flash, or like Vampire Diaries. They say, oh, it's a gas leak. When you know what had really happened, Klaus went in there and killed everybody.
Like, ripped everybody's throat out. It was a gas leak.
Oh, it's a gas leak.
They coughed too hard. Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Look, man. Oh, man. What could these aliens be doing with them? Now, here's the real. Now, here's a devil's advocate. The government is giving these people away, right? And the aliens, you think the aliens are telling the government what they're doing with the people? I doubt it. What if they're actually taking them to salvation, taking them to their planet, to Eden, taking them to a free land, to a new place?
That's what you think heaven is?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say.
And that is what heaven is.
Heaven is a place on earth. That would be so fun.
Oh, no. Hell on earth. We are on hell. And the angels are shipping people off.
Ew.
Maybe. Or I'm gonna go another
and
route.
The real devils is what's keeping us here.
That too. Or I'm gonna go another route. They're extracting them. They're extracting them. They know how to extract the melanin in our skin and adapt it to their skin so they can be us and be incognito. That's why Martian Man is black. Because melanin.
I'm gonna keep it a stack. Because what you're saying, I'm feeling you a little bit here. Because
they would want to be able to be in the sun. They're not
exactly. You wouldn't use recessive genes to survive on this planet.
Right.
You would not use recessive genes to survive on this planet. The fact of the matter is, recessive genes can only survive really well on certain parts of this planet, right? Whereas dominant genes survive everywhere on this planet, right? That's why you have recessive and dominant genes, right? That's the difference, right?
Yeah,
of course.
I'm going to take it a step further. They did try to use recessive genes. That's why there's a part in Antarctica that we can't go. That's where they put everybody that they use the recessive genes on.
The reptilians.
Yeah.
And and now it's becoming a problem because of global warming, and now they're going to get exposed.
That's why they're coming out with aliens now. That's because there's too many people that stumbled on Antarctica and say there's shit in there. And then they made a movie when they was about to come out with it called The Mist.
Oh my God. Oh. Serena, tell her.
I was thinking of The Thing. Sorry.
Tell her what your real theory is about the underwater aliens.
Oh, okay. So, there's like so much of the ocean that's like unexplored, but I was thinking like if you're really gonna go like straight into conspiracy theories, like what if aliens are just under the water? Because we can't actually get that deep. So like, what if Atlanteans are aliens?
We was talking about that in our episodes, but the octopi, and all that stuff.
Yeah, and
they're just different species of
aliens. It makes sense because when you think about it, we've seen these ships dip into our water as fast as they fly in space. Why would that be necessary? I mean, I personally, I think if you have making technology, you're going to make it be able to fly in the water. So I guess it would be necessary. But I don't know. I feel like...
I mean, think about it. If it can go in space, which is a huge vacuum, why wouldn't it be able to handle the deep pressure that you couldn't... Like...
I agree. I think if you're an exploratory vessel, you would want it to go anywhere.
Yeah. Or they've conquered enough other planets for their ships and everything to adapt to wherever they're going to explore.
Y'all want to hear a real conspiracy theory?
What?
What's in the alien ships are octopi.
What?
Or they look like octopi. They're octopi.
Yeah.
They're octopi. They are octopi. And octopi are monkeys to them like how monkeys are to us.
Yeah, that would make sense. And that's why...
And octopi, those alien octopi looking guys, they're mermaids.
Ooh.
Also. And you go back... Bro, yeah.
No, but that goes into that theory that the ship that just went deep down in the ocean to go find something,
Was
they're
crushed?
not really crushed, or they're not really missing.
They got took.
Right. By the octopi or aliens. They're not really missing.
I kind of like that theory. I think it's neat.
But this is the thing. They need them to buy, because those were billionaires, to buy some type of technology. So they took them and they're like, yo, you're gonna work for us now. We need you to get your accounts, because their accounts are in offshore accounts, things that the FBI, CIA won't be able to tap and see that the money is going in and out and being missing. Come on. Those type of people, they do a lot of illegal stuff. And they got took because they can use their funds to do whatever they want them to do without being detected. That's why they went down there. They went down there with that dumbass controller, because that was a setup. No, that was a setup. We're going to use this controller.
I still can't believe y'all went down there with a PS4
but
controller.
But I'm telling you, it was planned. We're going to go down there with this controller, knowing that we can say that we died, because look at the technology that we went down there with. When they already pre-contacted them, it's a pre-notion. They already pre-contacted them. They built that ship. There's no way the ship looks like that, and then they're controlling it with that small controller. That is a thought out thing.
Look, I would have said it was a setup, for sure. At least I think they're dead, and then most likely, if I'm going to conspiracy route, it was a setup to blow up that guy down there, because John was pretty rich, and I don't remember.
Think it was to blow up. I think it was to use him as a resource. Because even
now
his
he's
own
working
kid,
in the shadows.
Even his own kid is not really that hung up about it. He knows his father's still alive. His father told him, look, I got contacted by aliens. We got to go on the ship and act like we're dead. You could go to that concert next week because I'm still alive. You know? And then they got Cardi B speaking about it to throw it off some more. They using media and propaganda and all of that stuff to cover up what they're really doing. And all the celebrities are briefed on this stuff. They're a part of the elite, so they get the memo before we get the memo.
Everybody knows about aliens but us. Fuck all y'all.
Yeah.
Give us the information, man. We want to know.
But what if they don't tell us? Because, like I said, certain people are into Christianity. They're going to think it's demonic. They're going to want to do this and do that. And then they got the people that's not into Christianity, that do voodoo and all of that. They'll use it for evil. They're already in Africa and all those different type of places, turning people into sheeps and goat and all that stuff. How could they do that? The whole world is going to start going. It's already in shit, but it's going to go to even more shit if people get...
You know what I would love?
A whole different type of stuff.
I would love for them to be like, yeah, aliens are real. Also, magic is real too.
No, magic has to be real if aliens is real.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like magic is just, they always say magic is just a form of like technology that we don't understand. Cool. So magic is real? We good? Magic is real?
Yeah.
Can we get some magic up in this bitch? Shit.
I mean, we already have our own magic.
Yeah, but I want them to acknowledge it and tell us so we can go directly to there's a lot of guesswork when you don't know yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of guesswork. You have to feel things out all the time. Nah, son. I want the information.
I mean, you get the information. You still got to learn how to navigate it. You got to go back to the instructions. So it's rather you just work it from your own brain as well, too. And that, but I'm sure there are physical things too, huh? I feel like they're trying to protect the muggles. There's people that are alien descent, of magic descent, and then there's just regular people. And those, I feel like the muggles is the ones that have the money because they protecting themselves. Like the Rothschilds and all of that. They're not immortal and all that because they have magical powers. Because if they did, they wouldn't keep certain stuff from other people. They're the muggles and they're protecting themselves. They use other people like sorcerers, people that are seers, all of that different type of stuff. The aliens, they're using all of that. Just so that they can hoard the money.
Yeah, you cry. Yeah.
Like,
I'm trying not to laugh. You just said the bubbles. They're trying to take control. Oh my shit.
No, they're not trying to take control. They're in control.
Conspiracies.
Yeah, conspiracies.
Oh God, yo, you guys gotta let us know what you think in the comments, man. You guys gotta let us know what you think in the comments. What is going on? Are they bullshitting us? Is it just a distraction? Like, what the fuck is going on? Do you think we can get more information? Do you think we can get a photo? Do you think the UFO is going to show up on Times Square and be like, hey, yo, the government said it was okay?
I mean, they relit that ball in Vegas with the eye. People being watched. So they better give us a fucking UFO.
Look, all I gotta say is, we are ready. Aliens, we are ready.
No, the fuck we not. That's why they didn't give it to us yet.
Oh, come on.
We are ready. No, we are ready. They gonna come to our house. Oh, you've been arrested for whatever. We're ready. The rest of the people are not ready yet. That's why we...
That's another question. You guys ready for aliens?
They not.
Who feels like it'll be just another day?
They was just fighting over Popeye's chicken. They're not ready. They was just fighting over Popeye's sandwiches. Dude, they're not ready.
You're right.
They're not ready.
We still haven't slapped tournaments. Yo,
the planet has evolved. They come, like we said last episode, they come check on us. Oh,
they still
fighting over chicken. Oh, beefing about makeup online. I will come back next. Let's see, next 5 years. Let's see if they have evolved. Oh, some of them are spirituality. Oh, they learned about magic. We gonna give them a little bit of taste of a UFO. Let them put out that knowledge. I'm telling you, they give it to us inch by inch. Y'all not ready yet.
All right, guys. I think we made it. So thanks for joining us in the video today. Remember to like,
comment,
subscribe,
and we'll see you next time on the Trifecta.